Morning, all. All right, so news of the day to start things off. Probably would have done another video yesterday, but we went out. Yeah, so somebody's gonna throw like a birthday get together, and it has a component of street hockey. I will show up. That will happen. So if I'm invited, I don't just like randomly look for. Hey, they're having a party. I'm going. So yeah, so I did that, and now here we are. Starting the videos probably a little bit later than normal. Chicago. So they've been in the news for all the wrong reasons, and the investigation, which I've been talking about during this summer, is continuing, right? And it's an investigation that they're paying for. They're stating it's independent, and you'd probably it's understandable if you're curious as to how independent this really is going to be and what kind of results they're going to get. And then the plaintiff's lawyer was concerned as well that this wasn't going to be released publicly, that they were going to have this investigation and then privately discuss it, and then the results were going to change how they do things as an organization. And they're saying that it is going to change things within the organization, but now they're saying as well that it will be released publicly, that we will be able to see exactly what's gone on here. And at that point, I'm going to have to do a video where we dive into that. And I think it's either it's going to be ugly in the report's results, or it's going to be ugly in what it omits, or we're going to see something completely out of left field. It's possible we end up seeing information that we haven't heard anything about, that maybe some of the stuff we have heard about we're not going to see at all. And yeah, so they're supposed to release that publicly, and we'll see what happens with that. 17 players yesterday elected arbitration. So, Seattle fans, what is arbitration? All right, so certain restricted free agents have what's called arbitration rights. So if you go to Cap Friendly and you see a little hammer, like a little gavel, next to the fact that they're an RFA, that means they have arbitration rights. So there's 17 players that said, yeah, we'll go to arbitration, meaning they haven't come to an agreement with the general manager of the team yet, and an arbitrator will sit down, listen to, in a hearing setting, will listen to the team and then the player arguing for why they should get a certain amount, why they should pay a certain amount, and then the arbitrator decides. It is not a very pleasant experience. There have been times where arbitration has led to divorce between player and team. There have been arbitration awards as well that teams have said, you know what, forget it. And if a team walks away from an arbitration award, that player becomes a free agent. So that's the long and short of it, and really teams and players don't want arbitration. So the 17 players who filed for arbitration, I would expect, will mostly get signed. We may see a couple actually sit before an arbitrator and have a decision rendered, but in general, players will pull the trigger on the arbitration because they want to get this done. There's one team choice for arbitration that's gone forward as well, where the team itself has chosen to go the arbitration route. And we'll see which players actually end up going to arbitration, which ones don't. I know Dickinson in Vancouver is one example. Vince Dunn in Seattle is another. But again, I would expect there to be an agreement between team and player in most of these cases before we get there. Speaking of Seattle, Philip Grubauer's contract, the NHL took a look at it and said no. They took a look because the salary jumped too much from one season to the next. There's a certain amount you're allowed to vary a person's salary within the contract. It's to avoid the old-fashioned Roberto Luongo-esque, Marian Hossa-esque contracts where you have a lot of money at the front end. Maybe you might have a lot of money at the back end of the contract. It's meant to keep the contract more even in its reward. And so Ron Francis just moved $250,000 from, I think it's from year 2 to year 3, or from year 3 to year 2. But either way, it's fine now. The NHL is good with it. And Bill Daly even said this is not unusual. This is something that happens. It's just one of those things where general manager comes up with the contract, and I don't know if it's just the general manager, if it goes through somebody else, but in this case, they just missed it. And so that money's been moved. Philip Grubauer did not become an unrestricted free agent again. They didn't restrict the contract, and then Colorado jumps in. Didn't happen. Grubauer is still Seattle Kraken starting goaltender, and his contract is still for the same amount in total. Just, I think it's 250 grand moved from one year to another. So the Islanders have been quiet. I'm going to say this for Islander fans. I haven't seen anything anywhere on any rumors from sources that I trust stating that either Palmieri, Cizikas, or Zajac are going anywhere else. All signs seem to point to the Islanders retaining all three. Now, what's interesting is Cap Friendly did release the 5 youngest and 5 oldest teams by projected lineups this year. The Islanders are, I believe, the 4th oldest, and once you add Palmieri, Cizikas, Zajac, and if they add Parise as well, it's going to be an older team, but Lou Lamoriello, not shy about that, and we've seen older teams succeed before. And with Barry Trotz behind the bench, I don't bet against them. It's just not what I do. So there you go. The Islanders, while it's been quiet, and I understand Islander fans being kind of frustrated that there's been a lack of players being picked up. Yeah, all these players seem to be on their way back to New York. It's just either not been signed or just it's all a verbal agreement, a handshake agreement, whatever it is. It looks like they'll all end up going back there. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.